What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the BookMine Academy. And in today's video, we're going to talk about the third-party new sellers trying to sell books on Amazon. What's going on, Victor?
What's up, Joji? Excited to be here again, as with the other videos, and let's really dive into this one.
All right, so the first thing that we want to show you over on BookMine is how to tell whether or not there are third-party sellers selling the book in new condition. So maybe we should just back up, and for somebody who's maybe newer, doesn't know, what does third-party even mean?
Third-party is anybody that's not Amazon. So there's Amazon and then everyone else. And so anyone else is third-party.
Exactly. Now, if we're taking a look at these Keep It snapshots on BookMine, what is an indicator that there is or was a third-party new seller on the listing at some point in time?
So anytime there is a blue line in the graph at all, that means for a little while or for the entire time, there's been a third-party new seller.
Cool. Let's just start with something super simple. So when, Victor, was there actually a third-party new seller here on this?
At the end or middle of September, right on top there at 99.95.
Cool. So you can see it's basically this blue dot here on the Keep It graph. If you go and click that, see that it appears only if there ever was somebody listing this as a third-party new seller. And you can also see there's a price there, $99 there. Now, is the third-party new price always going to be the same, or is there any variability? Is it going to change?
Of course they're going to change. There are third-party sellers, so they're going to list their price for whatever they think they can sell it for. A lot of times they'll try to match Amazon's price if Amazon's in stock, but when Amazon's not in stock, they'll just go whatever they think they can get for the book.
I mean, look at this book here. I mean, look how wild that blue price has been, or that third-party new price. It's been all over the place, right, Victor?
Yeah.
I mean, it's been as high as $193. It's even, if we zoom in here, been as low as like $9. Crazy, right? So
yeah, it's a huge difference.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing I think is also really important to mention is that we would normally expect or think that the third-party new price is going to be like a ceiling price. And I say usually, and why do I say like usually it's a ceiling price?
It's because when the third-party new price is not FBA, sometimes the used FBA seller can outsell that person because you're making a choice, right, as a customer. You're either having to pick somebody who's going to sell it to you new, but wait 6 days, or used, but get it in 2 days. So a lot of times people want it faster and they're willing to buy that used book, even if it's slightly more, to get it in 2 days. And sometimes that's why you're able to price slightly over the new price.
Absolutely. And I've sold tons of books in used condition from more than third-party new sellers. And just like Victor mentioned, a lot of times Amazon will favor the used price. If it's right around the same price or maybe even a little more, they might give you the buy box. And then if you get the buy box, I mean, you're going to be the featured offer and you're more likely to be able to get a sell because it's less friction for a customer to want to buy your copy. Now, I want to kind of go back to what Victor was saying about kind of what happens with third-party new prices when Amazon's in stock. So do third-party new sellers try to sell their book for more than Amazon, or where are they kind of at?
Well, those third-party sellers also have the same limitations as used sellers like us. They are capped out whatever Amazon is selling the book for. Usually they will not pass the Amazon price. So wherever Amazon's at, they're right slightly underneath them and will stay there until, or if ever, Amazon goes out of stock. Now, if Amazon goes out of stock, usually we'll see them immediately move their price up.
Yeah, so what are we seeing right here?
Exactly that.
Yeah.
Amazon goes out of stock slightly, and both the used price and the third-party new price spikes up.
So recall back from our Amazon video, basically when we have a box that's shaded in orange, if it's complete from left to right, it expands the entire width. That means they're in stock the whole time. If there's ever any white, it represents a break in that. This is when they're out of stock, and you can see the prices go up. Now, I think a couple things to mention is if the third-party new price goes up really high, Amazon goes out of stock, does that mean it's selling? Like, how would we know if it's actually selling at that inflated price?
Definitely, if you go back to watch our other videos, right? We now have introduced another line, but what we're looking for here is the green drops here, right? So if there's a green drop when Amazon is still up with those really high prices, or if the third-party new price is still that high and there's these drops, you can tell, okay, well, there's some sales here. You also want to go to the bottom there and see if the new price there's moved down and one seller is left from those sales, the new offer count. If it went from like 8 to 7 or 7 to 6, you can see, okay, that's if it correlates with the two, that's when that book actually sold.
Yeah, so I mean, a good example of Victor's explaining is you can kind of see how the offer count, it definitely takes a little bit of a dip here when the sales start occurring with the sales ring.
Right.
So awesome there. Now it's going to be a little bit easier for us to determine whether or not it was a used or a new sale on listings that don't sell as frequently. But one thing that I did want to mention is sometimes, Victor, I notice when I'm looking at books, and it's actually not apparent on this graph. It's actually, third-party new sellers are actually on top of their stuff here. But sometimes I do see on the graph that third-party new prices are substantially higher than Amazon. So what's going on in those cases? Are those books selling?
They're more than likely not selling. What's happening is that they have some other repricing tools, and they just put their max price really high up there, and they're just letting the repricer take over, and they're not monitoring their pricing, their price for the particular book. They're not selling it. So that's a one-day hope price, but you're never going to get it if Amazon is still in stock.
So let's take a look at maybe a couple other books here. So this is an interesting book only due to the fact that recently we had a third-party new seller come in stock at 69. And then you can actually see it looks like they went out of stock, and then all of a sudden somebody else came back in stock at 29. So Victor, what's going to kind of happen if, let's say you have a book that should sell for quite a bit of money, but then a third-party new seller comes in at kind of a lower, what would we kind of do in that sort of scenario?
Well, you have two things, right? Either try to compete with them or just wait them out. So that looks like there was only one seller. And for me, if I just got this book, I would probably wait, right? Let that person sell their book. And then in 2 to 3 weeks from now, when they have sold out their book, I will be the last man standing.
Absolutely. And especially if the book has historical sales above what that third-party new price is. Like, for example, this actually has sold for at least $50 a couple times, which is well above the $30 here. So absolutely, one in stock. It's likely that they'll sell out somewhat soon. Let's say a new third-party seller comes on a listing, and let's say there's 742.
742 books. I mean, yeah, then I got to compete with them. I'm going to sell their book right at their price, and hopefully I'm able to sell it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. One other really important thing for us to mention is, when third-party new sellers go out of stock, similar to Amazon, that does offer us an opportunity, right? I mean, it offers us an opportunity to potentially sell our book for a little bit more. So that's also an important thing to understand. And then the last thing that we really want to talk about is understanding how many offers a third-party new seller actually has in stock. So what we can do is we can go over to Keepa.com. And once you're on Keepa.com, you can come up here under your profile name and click settings. And you can click this website cog, and you can scroll down to display stock quantity on offer listing pages and make sure that that says yes. And what is that going to now enable us to do here, Victor?
So when you now click on a book on Amazon or Keepa, you're going to be able to tell by digging a little bit deeper how many quantities that seller has. So we'll click on a few to kind of show you that.
Absolutely. So this is actually a Christmas book here. You can see it did really well here this past season, and we can go ahead and just filter by the new listing here, and it looks like we actually got a couple of prime sellers and a merchant fulfilled seller. So what are you seeing here with stock quantities?
So they each just have one book, so each one of them have one new book in stock.
Right, so very good there. And I think one thing that's really important to mention, and we'll go over on another video as well in this BookMine Academy, but down here on the bottom graph, we actually also have a blue line, which actually corresponds with the new third-party price, like they're related, and it's called new offer count. So can you just briefly talk about what the heck does new offer count mean?
How many sellers are selling this book new? So when there's like 10, that means there are 10 sellers selling this book new. When there's one, there's only one seller. And this corresponds really well with this particular book because it's a Christmas book. So you can see it started pretty high up there, 14, 15, 16 offers, and then it drops down right before Christmas. So you can see that they're also selling all of their new books and almost basically sold out.
They did. I mean, basically by December 9th, it was sold out. I mean, eventually someone came back on the listing again in new condition at a higher price, understandably. But yeah, I mean, factually, it went from a very high number to a very low number. And let me just show you exactly what Victor is talking about. If I click the day feature on Keepa, you can actually see that right now offer count is 3. And so what that means is if I were to come up here and click on this new and used button, and if I filter by new, it should be a total of 3 offers. And you can see that we got ourselves one offer there, the second offer there, and the third offer there. So hopefully that makes sense here. One really important thing for us to always be aware of is, kind of what the offer count, the new offer count or the used offer count looks like relative to the past. Because, we want to know, hey, are a lot of people selling this now relative to the past, or are there fewer people selling this relative to the past? Like any extra data we can get could be useful and potentially help us make better buying decisions. All right, so that concludes third-party new pricing strategy, and we're really excited to get you guys in the next video.
See you guys soon.